Hello, it is another installment for $5 in the world. I'm a couple of days late. I try to do these on Fridays or Saturdays. Today is a Sunday, but I do want to get it in. I consider this still part of the weekend, and I want to get this in so I can stay on my once a week schedule. I have a new chapter. It's an old chapter retooled with the help of the transcripts from the video I've already done on this chapter. As you know, every week I come on, give or take, and read one of these chapters and then comment on it and answer some questions as they came through. And based on your advice, I should rewrite the chapters incorporating some of the commentary because it fleshed out the chapter and gave it more depth. So this is my first attempt at doing that. This is one of the later chapters that I wrote called Be the Kind of Associate You Always Wanted. So I'm just going to go right into it, and I'm going to keep the commentary to a minimum, I think. I just want to read it as it is and let it speak for itself, and then react to your comments after you've all had a chance to check this out. So here it is. This is the revised version. It is one thing to be at your best when things are going well. It can be easier to live up to your code when you feel secure in your position. If a person extols the virtues of optimism and resourcefulness when life is rolling in their direction, we can understand that. We may even think, easy for you to say. When a person adheres to the same principles when dreams end, then that serves as a testament to the authenticity of the person. Heading into the decade of the 80s, the U.S. economy continued to struggle. Inflation and unemployment trended higher than they had been in quite some time. The Federal Reserve Board elected to focus on slashing inflation, and the textbooks say to raise interest rates higher and higher until demand for goods slows down, taking pressure off of prices. It is painful medicine for the people who rely on borrowing to buy things. In the manufactured home industry, borrowing was how most dealers purchased inventory and how most retail clients bought the houses. High unemployment, high prices, and high interest rates made life in the manufactured housing industry extremely difficult. Dad had made a huge financial commitment in the late 70s to weather an earlier economic storm and didn't have the resources necessary to do it again. So in 1981, he made the painful decision to end Gray Mobile Homes. He made a deal with the creditors and suppliers that each individual location could be an independent dealership with the various managers stepping into an ownership role. This was a selfless thing to do, as it did not result in any profit to him. It did provide opportunities for each of the guys who had stayed with him till the end. It saved the creditors and suppliers an ugly liquidation event, and it created an opening for Dad to start over as an executive at his former supplier's business, Fairmont Homes. Dad was 65 years old when he embarked on his new career. It required a sell off of so many of the things he had acquired over the years. He sold the houseboat, our big house on Mona Lake, the corporate plane, and moved into a townhouse condo in Syracuse, Indiana. Mom, Chuck, and I had to finish up the school year before we moved there as well. It was my senior year of high school. For me, it did not disrupt my life very much. I was leaving Muskegon in the fall of 1982 anyways to go to Michigan State. For Chuck, it was a major shift in status, and to his credit, he navigated that well. It wasn't long before he was at the center of the action in his new school. Our mom had the biggest adjustment to make. She was moving away from friends, the lifestyle, and the familiar. She rose to the occasion in amazing fashion. She made the townhouse a home. She connected with the wives of the executives at Fairmont. She kept Chuck and me in the right frame of mind during the weeks we had left in Muskegon. Every weekend, we would drive down to Syracuse, Indiana to hang out with Dad, and he spent no time in self-pity. He told us that he was looking forward to the next chapter. Within weeks of starting at Fairmont as Director of Special Projects, he was in San Juan, Puerto Rico, negotiating a housing deal with the government there. We had a long history with Fairmont by this time. Dad was one of their most successful retail partners, and he had a close relationship with the owner, Jim Shea. When Dad needed a lifeline out of Gray, Jim was there to provide it. Jim Shea was an impressive person, a brilliant lawyer. He had acquired Fairmont Homes in lieu of payment from a former client. Turns out he was also a brilliant businessman. Fairmont became an industry leader. Jim could be difficult. He was demanding and suspicious of people. He would hold a grudge and could be vindictive. He was also capable of great acts of generosity. Dad respected him a great deal and also understood his temperament better than most. Dad proved to be an ideal associate for Jim. Dad provided Fairmont with a respected retail expert that their dealer base knew and respected. He could play the good cop to Jim's bad cop. Jim trusted Dad as much as he trusted anybody. Dad made sure that Jim was at the center of attention during events. Dad toned down his own charisma some to defer the spotlight to Jim. He made it clear to people that he would hear them out with grievances or complaints, but that he would not keep secrets from Jim. Dozens, if not hundreds of people trusted Dad to get the balance of confidentiality and loyalty right. My mom served the same kind of role for the wives associated with Fairmont. She helped them with their issues. She saved more than one marriage with her compassionate advice. They proved to be a dynamic team wherever they went. In a short period of time, Dad had worked out a deal for a lot on the channel of Lake Wawasee, had a comfortable home built on it, and a boat in the water. The Gray homestead was once again the center of their social network. They developed a whole new slate of friendships that didn't replace their Muskegon connections, just added to them. It was impressive to see them live through what they did and not waver in their commitments to each other, to a way of looking at the world and for parenting us. It proved to me once and for all the way Dad talked about life was deeply unconditional. He thrived in this new role, and so did Fairmont Homes. It was not too deep into the 1980s when the bitter interest rate treatments finally took hold and inflation dropped, taxes were cut, and the business cycle cranked up in a powerful way. After about 12 years at Fairmont, Mom and Dad started talking about moving back to Michigan. My brother and I had found ourselves in the manufactured housing industry ourselves, and we had developed enough of a reputation to be taken seriously in our own right. We were looking for ways to open our own dealership. Dad, in his mid-70s, was excited about the prospect, and he wanted to help us achieve this goal. So they sold the sweet home in Syracuse and moved into an apartment in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This was the area that Chuck and I thought provided us the best opportunity to acquire a business. He turned out to be right, and when it came time to close on the deal, Dad gave us the money from the sale of the house in Indiana. He said that he couldn't think of a better way to invest his money than with us. This gesture was remarkable. There wasn't another Esteg anywhere. If he was wrong about us, it would be pretty tough sledding. What made Dad's gamble on us even more incredible is what happened as he left Fairmont. As the plans for Mom and Dad's going away party were getting settled, Jim Shea had Dad come to his office, and he presented Dad with a check for $40,000 as a kind of a modified stock option type compensation. Dad wasn't entitled to it by contract or anything. It was one of those generous gestures Jim would do. This was before the house sold or anything like that. It made my parents happy to be appreciated in this way, and it certainly helped their bottom line. The party went well, and there were warm feelings all around. Mom and Dad had worked together for the Fairmont Group for those 13 years and had left an indelible mark on the company and its culture. Shortly after this, Jim called Dad, and he was in a frosty mood. He told Dad that giving him that money was a mistake and he wanted it returned. Dad asked for clarification, but in the end, he said that he would return it. He told us that he hadn't counted on the money before he had it, and he wasn't going to ask desperate at this stage of the game. If Jim wanted his money back, then he could have his money back. We were taken aback by Jim's decision, and our mom was angry at what she saw as a betrayal and a sign of disrespect or spite. She urged Dad to keep the money and to not look back. She had a point, and it would probably have been difficult for Fairmont to make an argument for it in a courtroom. Dad wouldn't hear of it. He reiterated that he hadn't counted on the money, hadn't been promised the money, and he wasn't going to worry about it. For him, it was a continuation of his honorable approach to life. He would not fight for a gift not freely given, and he would not feel sorry for himself or worry about the future. He told Mom that things would work out fine and they wouldn't owe anybody anything. In a real test of his resolve, Mom asked him to just this once ditch the optimism about this situation. He said, "I don't know any other way to be." That settled the issue. He gave back the money and really did not harbor hard feelings. We asked him about the years working so closely with Jim and the rest of the folks at Fairmont. How did he manage the mercurial nature of Jim and play a subordinate role after so many years as a head guy? He said that he always respected Jim's intellect and business sense. He reminded us that Jim and the company had provided many good things to us over the years of our association. But the biggest key for him was this. In all the years that he was in business, he wanted a reliable and trustworthy associate. He said that each day he went into the office, he resolved to be that kind of associate to Jim that he always wanted for himself. He lived up to that resolution every day, in the fun times and the difficult times. He was never a pushover, nor was insubordinate or subversive. He did not complain to people or betray confidences. He proved to be an effective sounding board for Jim. He played an active role in helping Jim repair several relationships that Jim had lost over the years due to his capacity to hold grudges and remember slights. The restoration of these various family relationships may have been Dad's most valuable service to Jim and the family. My brother Chuck and I did get that dealership, and Dad was there for it, and we had a lot of good times working together. We remained a Fairmont Homes dealer and maintained a business and personal relationship with them even after Jim died. Adversity really does reveal character. The commitment to live up to a code and not down to the standards of others is a rare quality. Dad and Mom as well showed up in character and integrity in ways that people who have known them still talk about and still strive to emulate. Be the kind of associate, friend, or partner that you always wanted for yourself, and you will never compromise your integrity. That is the new revised chapter. I would love to hear what you think about it. Does it need still more work? I'm going to start meeting with an editor in the near future to help with this as well. And I'll keep you posted on how that process goes, because that's going to be a new one for me. But for now, that's what I have. It's getting a little bit late here on Sunday, so I'm going to go ahead and post this and look forward to your remarks. Thanks again, and I'll be back next weekend.